Today, we're jumping into Charles Dickens's A Tale of Two Cities. It's, an incredible story love, sacrifice, this real struggle for justice, all set against the French Revolution.
Yeah, it's such a powerful backdrop for everything that unfolds.
So what we want to do today is look closely at some key scenes, unpack some of the language Dickens uses, and really think about the choices these characters make. Choices that honestly tell us a lot about being human.
Absolutely. And we'll be following some specific people, right? Sidney Carton, Lucy Manette, Charles Darnay.
Yeah.
Their lives are so intertwined.
Exactly. A Tale of Two Cities isn't just, a history lesson. It's a really deep look at these big human themes.
Right. Justice, love, hope. Seeing how they play out when things get really intense, and maybe how they echo in our own lives, too.
Okay, let's dive in then. First up, this whole idea of justice, or maybe something else. Sidney Carton has this powerful line.
Oh, yeah, another one.
Is justice still justice when it's fueled by hate? In the courtroom, I saw not law, but anger dressed as truth. Whew.
It hits hard, doesn't it? And then Lucy Manette comes back with, justice should heal, not destroy. But in times of pain, people confuse revenge with fairness.
That contrast is really something.
It really is. Carton points out this huge danger, when seeking justice gets tangled up with just raw hate.
Right. It twists the whole idea.
Exactly. And Lucy offers this ideal that real justice should be about mending things, restoring, not just causing more pain.
Yeah.
It sets up this core tension.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, before we go further, let's quickly touch on a couple of words here. Lucy talks about justice, which at its core is about fairness, right? Following the law, doing what's right. Like you might say, the people hoped for justice after those unfair rules.
Makes sense.
But Carton's words bring up revenge, and that's different. That's about wanting to hurt someone back because they hurt you.
Getting even.
Exactly. Getting even. And you can see how, especially in chaotic times like a revolution, those lines could get, really blurry.
Oh, absolutely. And, this whole justice versus revenge thing isn't new. Society's always grappled with this. Think about, say, how people react to a crime. One person might demand really harsh punishment.
Like an eye for an eye, that kind of thinking.
Right. That's the only real justice, they might say.
But someone else might push back, right? They might say, hang on, just punishing them. Does that actually fix anything? Shouldn't we try to understand why it happened? Maybe prevent it next time.
Exactly. Focusing more on rehabilitation or understanding the root causes, it shows there's this ongoing debate about the best way to deal with wrongdoing.
It really does. So this brings us to a question for you listening in. Is justice really justice if it's coming from a place of hate?
Yeah, and following that, can harsh punishment on its own truly solve problems? Or is there maybe more value in, trying to understand and bring about change?
We'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments or, talk about it if you're in a class setting.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Scene 2, sacrifice and love. And this is where Sidney Carton just shines, in a way.
Oh, that quote. I am a wasted life, but for her, I would give everything. It is a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done. Just, wow.
It's incredibly powerful. And the narrator really emphasizes this choice, right? Giving up his own life so Charles Darnay can live, and finding this profound meaning in that final act.
Yeah, here's this guy who sort of saw himself as worthless and finds the ultimate purpose in this incredibly selfless act of love. It really speaks to redemption, doesn't it?
Definitely redemption through selflessness. Okay, vocabulary pause again.
Good idea. So Carton's action is a perfect example of sacrifice.
Giving something up.
Yeah, giving up something really valuable, in his case, his life for someone else. You could say Sidney Carton's sacrifice shows deep love and courage.
Absolutely. And the narrator calls his decision noble. Noble means having high morals, high ideals.
Right, like Carton makes a truly noble choice in the end. It has that weight to it.
It does. And this idea of sacrifice, it's not just in books, is it? We see it in real life.
All the time. You might hear someone say, my friend gave up a dream job to move back home and take care of their parents.
Yeah, or that firefighter ran into the burning building, a true sacrifice to save those people. It shows how deep our connections can be.
Putting someone else's needs way above your own.
So, another question for you to ponder. What does it really mean to sacrifice something for someone you love?
And, linked to Carton, can a life that feels, wasted, can it find real meaning in one big selfless act?
Heavy questions, but worth thinking about. Share your reflections.
Okay, final scene for today. Let's talk about hope, especially when things seem really dark. And Lucy Manette is kind of the embodiment of this.
She really is. Her line, even when the world burns around us, I must believe in kindness, in tomorrow, in life. That's powerful stuff.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we also hear from her father, Dr. Manette. Remember, he was unjustly imprisoned for years. Lost.
Right, totally broken by the experience.
But he talks about Lucy's love bringing him back. He says something like, I was lost in darkness. Her love was the light. Hope. Hope can heal.
Yeah, his whole journey shows how vital hope can be, even after unimaginable trauma. It's like a lifeline.
Definitely. Okay, quick vocabulary check here. Hope itself, that's that feeling of expecting something good, trusting in a positive outcome.
Believing things can get better?
Exactly. And the opposite, that's despair. A total lack of hope. We see that in Carton for a lot of the book, right?
Oh, yeah. You could say Carton lived in despair for a long time before finding his purpose.
And then there's rebirth, a new beginning, a revival, Dr. Manette's recovery.
That's like a rebirth, totally.
Yeah.
Coming back to life emotionally and mentally.
Right. And again, this isn't just fiction. We see hope in action all around us. Think about the pandemic.
Oh, yeah. People helping neighbors, communities pulling together.
Exactly. Someone might say, even when things were so tough during lockdown, seeing people help each other out gave me hope.
And another person might add, yeah, those small acts of kindness really made a difference, didn't they? They were like little sparks in the dark.
Keeping that flame alive.
Mm-hmm. So our last question for you today, why is hope so important, especially when things are really difficult?
And how can simple acts of kindness actually provide that hope in dark times?
We're genuinely curious to hear your perspectives on this.
Okay, so let's wrap up our deep dive into A Tale of Two Cities for today. We've looked at justice versus revenge.
That thin line.
The incredible power of sacrifice driven by love.
Especially Carton's story.
And why hope is just so essential, even when facing terrible situations.
And we touched on some key words. Justice meaning fairness.
Revenge being about getting back at someone.
Sacrifice, giving something up for others.
Noble, having those high morals.
Hope, that belief in better things.
Despair, the lack of hope.
And rebirth, like a new start.
Yeah, right. And of course, woven through the whole story are other big ideas and words like, revolution, redemption, the guillotine, being a prisoner, and showing courage. They all add layers.
For sure. These themes, and just the way Dickens writes about them, that's what makes the novel stick with you, isn't it? You connect with these people across centuries.
Absolutely. Okay, so now a little challenge for you, our listener.
All right, let's hear it.
Think about a time in your own life. Maybe you felt a bit like Sidney Carton, sort of lost, maybe, but wanting to do something meaningful.
Or maybe more like Lucy Manette, a time when you brought hope or kindness to someone else who was struggling.
Yeah. We'd love it if you'd share that story. Tell us about it in the comments.
Yeah, please do. A Tale of Two Cities is just such a profound look at people and society under pressure. It really makes you think about what matters.
It really does. We hope this deep dive sparked some thoughts for you on these big themes. Maybe it even makes you want to pick up the book again, or for the first time.
Or just learn more about that whole period of history.
Exactly. Thanks so much for joining us today.